Reports that Jeff Sessions spoke to the Russian ambassador twice before the election, despite his denials at his confirmation hearing.
I did not have communications with the Russians.
Democrats call for his resignation right now. How the White House is responding this morning.
Stock market spike. The Dow soaring past 21,000 for the first time ever. After President Trump's big speech, our business is about to go on a hiring spree.
Urgent manhunt. Police in Tennessee searching for this man suspected of killing a 23-year-old nurse in her apartment while her roommate was sleeping nearby. The hunt for this suspect caught on surveillance tape around the time of the murder.
And buzzer beater madness. The high school hero launching the ball 75 feet from the basket with just half a second on the clock. Sinking it, shot. In Northwestern's greatest play ever. Their Hail Mary pass overnight. Fans storming the court. What the player at the center of it all is saying this morning.
Live in Times Square, this is GMA with Robin Roberts, George Stephanopoulos, and Michael Strahan.
Good morning, America. Big news day this Thursday. And how about that early start to March Madness?
Yes, and let's see that play again. One more time for Northwestern. Hail Mary pass, puts it up, makes it. And the greatest thing is this could seal their first trip ever to the NCAA tournament, ever. So I bet you that kid's a hero around campus.
Oh, yeah, you can see there on the court what the reaction was. We have a lot more on that in just a bit. But first, we have that big story about Attorney General Jeff Sessions. There are calls this morning for him to resign, George.
Or at minimum, recuse himself from that investigation into Russia's interference with our election after reports overnight said he had at least 2 meetings with the Russian ambassador, meetings that he did not disclose when asked during his confirmation hearing. Our senior justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas, tracking this breaking story from Washington. Good morning, Pierre.
Good morning, George. That's right. Some Democrats are calling on Sessions to resign after reports that he met with the Russian ambassador before the election and did not tell Congress during his confirmation hearings.
This morning, the Attorney General under fire over this exchange with Senator Al Franken regarding allegations of Russian ties to Trump associates.
If there is any evidence that anyone affiliated with the Trump campaign communicated with the Russian government in the course of this campaign, what will you do?
Senator Franken, I'm not aware of any of those activities. I have been called a surrogate at a time or two in that campaign, and I not have communications with the Russians, and I'm unable to comment on it.
But Sessions, according to his own records, met with Russia's ambassador to the United States twice during the 2016 presidential election season. Once in the Senate office in September, and once following an event with the Heritage Foundation in July. Justice Department officials last night said there was nothing unusual about those meetings, that the meeting in his office was on his public schedule and attended by his staff. They said he met with numerous ambassadors, including ones from China, Canada, and Great Britain as part of his duties on the Senate Armed Services Committee. And they say the interaction in July was a brief encounter with 50 other ambassadors present. All this critical because U.S. intelligence agencies have been investigating whether any Trump associates were communicating with Russian officials during the campaign. Last night, Sessions responded saying in a written statement, "I never met with any Russian officials to discuss issues of the campaign. I have no idea what this allegation is about. It is false." Sessions has been under pressure from Democrats to recuse himself because he was one of Trump's earliest congressional supporters and a key advisor during the campaign. Now, with questions about his own contacts with Russians, Democrats are calling for him to step aside from any investigations involving the Russians, and there will likely be additional calls for a special prosecutor.
Sessions is the nation's chief law enforcement officer overseeing the FBI, which has been investigating Russian attempts to influence the 2016 election. He now faces incredible pressure from Democrats who are accusing him of lying under oath. But his spokesperson, Sarah Flores, said there was nothing misleading about Sessions' comments during the hearing. She said he was asked about communications between Russia and the Trump campaign, not about meetings that took place when he was a senator, George.
Okay, Pierre, this is complicated by the fact that the Wall Street Journal reporting this morning that Sessions has actually been a subject of those investigations, which are ultimately led by the FBI. So it leads to the whole question of can someone who's been a subject of the investigation be the person ultimately responsible for it?
George, we have no information that Sessions has been under any kind of formal investigation. But now, given these questions about his congressional testimony, some may call for just such a probe. George?
Okay, Pierre Thomas, thanks very much.
And for more now on how the Trump administration is responding to all of this morning, let's go to our senior White House correspondent, Cecilia Vega. Good morning, Cecilia.
Amy, good morning to you. Strong pushback from the White House this morning. They are calling this a political attack on them. This, of course, comes as the Trump administration is still riding very high following that joint session speech and the glowing reviews. But this is not the storyline that they were hoping to wake up to this morning. More questions about contacts with Russia. This is the statement that they sent overnight as the story broke. Take a look. This is the latest attack against the Trump administration. Bipartisan Democrats, Attorney General Sessions met with the ambassador in an official capacity. Now, it was just a couple of weeks ago, right here at the White House, that the president himself said that nobody I know of, Amy, had contacts with the Russians leading up to the election.
And yet, Cecilia, we are learning this morning that the Trump administration is directing White House staffers to keep any materials that could be related to Russia, correct?
Yeah, that's right. You know, White House lawyers sent these instructions yesterday to aides here at the White House, basically telling them to save all materials that might show any contacts between anyone in the administration and the Russians. Now, the White House says they simply did this because this was a proactive step they wanted to take to push back, Amy, against what it calls these politically motivated attacks.
All right, Cecilia Vega, thank you.
Okay, Amy, let's get more on this now from John Carl, our chief White House correspondent, and Matthew Dowd, our chief political analyst. And John, let me begin with you. We saw the White House are dismissing these as partisan political attacks. The Democrats' calls for Jeff Sessions to resign, but the pressure for the Attorney General to accuse himself from this investigation as he's facing questions about his testimony is going to get intense.
No question about that, George. Look, it's important to say at first that I've been reporting on this issue of the Russian connection for weeks now. Nobody in any of these discussions has suggested in any way that Jeff Sessions would have been the conduit between the campaign and the Russians if there was one. But the White House knows, Sessions' staff knows, Sessions himself knows that now there's at the very least an appearance problem here. He is going to have to recuse himself. He cannot be the one making decisions about where this investigation goes.
And Matt, it'll intensify calls for a special prosecutor to look into this as well.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the Trump folks thought they had this great momentum going 48 hours ago, and it used to be momentum used to be on these big speeches would be gauged in weeks, then it was gauged in days, now it's gauged in hours. I think when you look at this whole thing, to keep up the March Madness theme in this, Donald Trump gave a great halftime speech in game one of the tournament, but there's a lot of games left, and this is going to complicate his ability to sort of go through this process.
And John Carl, a lot of strands of this story out there this morning. As you pointed out, you've been covering this story for weeks now. The Trump administration has consistently denied any contacts, knowing of any contacts between people affiliated with the campaign and the Russians during the campaign. Yet the New York Times reporting this morning new details, they're saying, of multiple European intelligence agencies having information about these contacts and U.S. intelligence separately intercepting communications from Russians about these contacts.
Well, you know, George, since that New York Times story broke saying that there were regular contacts between Trump associates, including associates on the campaign, and the Russians, I have not heard emphatic blanket denials from the White House anymore, including pointedly from the president himself. As you remember, I asked him directly at his press conference if there were any contacts between his campaign and the Russians. He answered by saying that he didn't have any contacts. So I think this is something that, frankly, Trump's own team is unsure and very reluctant to make blanket denials anymore.
How does the White House get ahead of this?
I think it's very difficult. The best explanation they have is sort of Clinton-esque, which is we were asked a specific question on this, and he was answering a specific question with that. Normally what this White House does and what Donald Trump does is change the topic to something totally different in this. I think, though, this is going to go on. As we talked about in the aftermath of the election, the two things that were likely to dog Donald Trump were conflict of interest related to his business and Russian contacts during the course of the campaign, and we're still at it today.
Okay, Matthew Dowd, John Carl, thanks very much.
Trump may want to change the topic to the economy. The stock market skyrocketing after President Trump's speech breaking the 21,000 barrier for the first time ever. The president tweeting about it this morning. And our chief business correspondent, Rebecca Jarvis, is at the New York Stock Exchange. Good morning, Rebecca. And how are people feeling down there?
Well, Amy, there is some optimism here. Good morning. Stocks now shattering new records, and investors here are optimistic about the president's message, in particular, the tone he took in that joint session before Congress, especially when he had this to say.
my economic team is developing historic tax reform that will reduce the tax rate on our companies so they can compete and thrive anywhere and with anyone.
It's that pro-business message, that lowering of taxes, that anti-regulatory tone that President Trump has taken throughout his campaign and now throughout his presidency that has helped send a number of stocks higher. It also pushed the Dow above 21,000 for the first time ever. And in particular, we've seen strength among companies like Apple, Boeing, and a number of financials, Amy.
Okay, so how does this surge impact average Americans and their wallets?
That is the question, right? Everybody wants to know what this means for them. Well, first off, only about half of Americans even have any kind of money in the stock market. For those people, with the Dow up 15% since Election Day, the average retirement account has added about $11,000. But for others, the other issue is a matter of the ripple effect. Does this ultimately mean more jobs and higher wages? That is the key question for Americans out there, because we don't always get that ripple effect, and sometimes it can lag, Amy.
All right, Rebecca Jarvis, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Michael?
I'm going to keep our eye on the stock. I'm going to keep our eye on the weather. And severe weather is moving east after a rough 48 hours in the Midwest with at least 27 reported tornadoes. And let's go to Ginger Z for the latest. Good morning, Ginger.
Good morning, Michael. You probably heard it blowing early this morning when you got up. We had seen 52-mile-per-hour gusts already at LaGuardia Airport, slowing them down by almost 2-hour delays. And look at this video. That's a brush fire from just moments ago in Philadelphia that has suspended train traffic in some places. Bright, Indiana, this is a picture of that hail so big the last 48 hours have been unreal across the United States. Look at these storm reports, more than 800 of them.
Overnight, severe winds blasting the southeast.
Whoa.
Sirens sounding in Nashville. Hail pelting the land in Alabama, ripping the roof from this home in Lewis County, Kentucky. Up to 67-mile-per-hour gusts taking out this dealership near Asheville, North Carolina. And in Charlotte, rescuers searching for animals inside this collapsed barn. In the mid-Atlantic, winds up to 78 miles per hour in Virginia, trees skewering homes in Maryland. Down power lines burning a hole in this street. This is all the same system that killed 3 people.
Oh my God, it's on the ground, you can see the damage.
17 confirmed tornadoes, some with winds up to 155 miles per hour.
That's my home, and now it's gone.
In the state of Illinois, an EF3 tornado shattering the town of Ottawa. And in Perryville, Missouri, the National Weather Service confirming a tornado tore through that town for 13 miles.
So really, this is the wind gust behind the storm that we're concerned about. See these advisories that stretch all the way through the Appalachians into New England. It is the orange there, that deep orange, that high wind warning where you can see 50 to even 60-mile-per-hour gusts today. That could easily take down trees, power lines. I'm taking you through time here. It's going to stay with us through the day, through the afternoon, and tonight into New England. Then we can finally say goodbye to this storm. Amy?
All right, Ginger, thanks so much. And now to a shocking corruption scandal in Baltimore. 7 police officers indicted on federal charges accused of stealing money from innocent people. ABC's Lindsay Davis joins us now with all of those details. Good morning, Lindsay.
Good morning, Amy. We've heard similar storylines before on the big screen and on primetime television. But now these real-life officers have been charged with abusing their badges, of being corrupt to the core. Allegations of extortion, falsifying police reports, and stealing from citizens.
These 7 Baltimore City police officers arrested, charged with being hardcore criminals. The allegations range from stealing from innocent citizens to robbing drug dealers of cash and guns, some even of selling heroin.
These defendants allegedly were involved in stopping people who had not committed crimes and seizing their money, not only seizing their money, but pocketing it. So these are really simply robberies by people who are wearing police uniforms.
The alleged stealing from city residents was rampant, with amounts stolen ranging from $200 to $200,000. Prosecutors say the corruption included bogus search warrants, filing false police reports, and even putting in for thousands of dollars in overtime while on vacation.
These officers, they're 1930-style gangsters, as far as I'm concerned.
And authorities say there was a widespread cover-up which involved coaching of each other to give false statements to internal affairs and turning off body cameras at key moments. It all sounds a lot like an episode from HBO's The Wire, the long-running police and drug drama that takes place in Baltimore. In this episode, officers stuffed cash from a raid in their bulletproof vests. This morning, the 7 officers are charged with racketeering. Some of the suspects face up to life in prison, others decades in jail.
The majority of Baltimore City police officers are going to be really pleased today to see these charges brought against people who are accused of betraying their badges, of betraying their trust to the department.
There was a year-long operation in place to take these officers down. They were even wiretapped by the FBI. The U.S. attorney involved is calling this a major abuse of power. In some cases, they would just stop an ordinary citizen, hadn't been accused of doing anything, and they would steal their money from them.
So blatant.
Right, yeah.
Okay, Lindsay, thanks very much. We're going to get the latest fallout now from that terror attack at the Pulse nightclub in Orlando. A judge has decided to grant bail to Nur Salman, the widow of the Orlando attacker, who was arrested for her connection to the attack. ABC's Lindsay Janis has the story.
She's accused of helping her husband carry out the deadliest mass shooting in modern U.S. history. But this morning, Nur Salman, the widow of alleged Pulse nightclub shooter Omar Mateen, is set to be released from jail on a $500,000 bond.
We believe it's a just, equitable, and appropriate decision.
A judge ruling the 31-year-old mother of Mateen's 4-year-old son be placed on house arrest while awaiting trial.
I find that the government has not established by clear and convincing evidence that Ms. Salman presents a danger to the community.
Federal magistrate Donna Ryu casting doubt on the government's case against Salman, pointing out that the prosecution relies heavily on alleged admissions Salman made toward the end of a 16-hour detention.
I find that at this time, the weight of the evidence is debatable.
Salman has pleaded not guilty to charges of aiding and abetting and obstruction of justice.
The judge also said a psychiatric exam supports the defense's claims that Salman had, quote, some cognitive deficits that impair her ability to engage in abstract thinking. Guys, the government has 48 hours to appeal that bond ruling.
Okay, Lindsay, thanks very much. Let's go back to Ginger.
And this is the coldest air that we're going to see in more than a month in a lot of places. Flint and Saginaw, Michigan, for example, had their warmest Februarys on record. Look at the number. By tomorrow morning, 11 in Detroit. That feels like Washington, D.C. After 80 degrees yesterday, will feel like below freezing. Your local weather in 30 seconds. First, though, the snowy cities, brought to you by Capital One Quicksilver Card.
Earning your cash back shouldn't be this complicated. Yet some cards limit where you earn bonus cash back to a few places, and then change those places every few months. Enough with that. With Quicksilver from Capital One, you always earned unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase, everywhere. Welcome to Unlimited. What's in your wallet?
Wow, today will be 30 degrees lower than yesterday, feeling chilly and, yes, windy. That wind advisory covers the area through 10 a.m. Winds today could gust upwards 35, even over 40 miles per hour during the morning and early afternoon. Meanwhile, tomorrow we'll be tracking more of the cold. Wind chills today, 40 to 45 degrees. Tomorrow, those wind chills will be down into the 20s and 30s. With a high of 42, could see some flurries.
Well, it is March, which means March Madness. It's come early, everybody. Check out these two unbelievable buzzer beaters. The first is courtesy of Indiana's Central Christian Academy basketball team. With half a second left, senior Josh Clanton grabbed the rebound, just shot puts it 75 feet away. He nails the buzzer beater. They advance to the next round, and the coach said he didn't want them wasting their time on these shots in practice. Yes, take that, coach. And check out this next one. Northwestern, Trelly, Michigan, is full court Hail Mary pass in the shot. Wow. The last second layup, the hero of the game, Derek Parton, said, words can't describe how he feels. And this could be the first time Northwestern has made it into the NCAA tournament. And that shot right there could be the thing that would be huge.
You already thinking about your brackets? March 14th is when it all begins.
I just wish I worked for Warren Buffett and I had a chance at $1 million a year for life.
Or $100,000 if you
I'm
get
sure we can work
anyone
something
else.
out there.
Yeah.
Put in a call for me, Joe.
Okay, coming up, we got this desperate search for a man caught on surveillance camera Could it be the key to solving the murder of a young nurse in Nashville?
And then Joe and Jill Biden are speaking out this morning about that family bombshell.